Hello and welcome back to Chinese History Written by Chinese. I'm Xiaomao, your guide through the captivating stories of China's legendary figures. In our last episode, we delved into the life and legacy of the Yellow Emperor, Huangdi. Today, we'll continue our journey by exploring three more key figures in Sima Qian's Annals of Five Emperors: Emperor Zhuanxu, Emperor Ku, and Emperor Yao. Let's start with Zhuanxu, also known as Gaoyang. Who is he? He is the grandson of the Yellow Emperor Huangdi we introduced last time, and he also lived in around 2500 BC. Sima Qian described him as 近渊以有谋，疏通而知事. He was known for his calm and composed demeanor, strategic mind, and deep understanding of matters. He's apparently an adventurer who traveled far and wide. Zhuanxu is celebrated for further consolidating the tribes unified by his grandfather. He's also credited with several cultural and administrative reforms. Zhuanxu is said to have abolished human sacrifices and prohibited close kin marriages, reflecting his focus on ethical governance and societal betterment. Zhuanxu's successor is Emperor Ku, who is also one of the five emperors. Ku is the great-grandson of the Yellow Emperor and a cousin of Zhuanxu. We didn't get much description of Ku in Sima Qian's 史记, but Sima Qian did mention Ku 生而神灵，自言其名. He was extraordinary from birth. He even spoke his own name as soon as he was born. Remember, we mentioned the Yellow Emperor can speak at a very young age. Apparently, this descendant of the Yellow Emperor can speak at the moment he was born. There must be some prodigy genes running in this family. Anyway, Sima Qian used 地库盖直中而遍天下。日月所照，风雨所至，莫不从服 to describe his reign. Here, Sima Qian used a metaphor that Ku's governance is much like the rain, irrigating fields equally, reflecting his impartial and all-encompassing governance. It is said under his reign, wherever the sun shone and the wind and rain raged, there was no one who did not pledge their loyalty and respect. After Emperor Zhuanxu passed away, his son Zhi succeeded him. However, Zhi didn't achieve much, so he stepped down and passed the throne to his brother, Emperor Yao, who is also one of the five emperors. But before we move on to Emperor Yao's legend, let's pause a little bit here, because I find this part very fascinating. It seems like the throne was not strictly hereditary. Emperor Zhi didn't hold the throne to himself nor pass it to his son, but he stepped down and let his brother succeed him because he didn't perform well. What implications and insight can we draw from it? It seems like during the five emperors' time, which is around 2500 BC, a merit-based approach to leadership was adopted in China. It's not a democracy, as all these emperors we mentioned are related to each other, but still, Emperor Zhi's lack of significant accomplishment led to his eventual replacement by his brother. This shows that leadership was closely scrutinized, and rulers were expected to achieve tangible results and govern effectively. This short passage provides insight into the dynamics of leadership and governance in ancient Chinese mythology and history. The story implies that the early Chinese society valued effective leadership and was willing to make difficult decisions to ensure the well-being of the state. This narrative also reflects the cultural emphasis on moral and ethical governance, where a ruler's legitimacy is tied to their ability to bring about positive change and maintain stability. Failure to deliver result can lead to replacement, emphasizing the principle of responsibility in governance. It almost sounds like a system of modern governance, doesn't it? But let's keep in mind that these are semi-mythical figures and stories. Instead of assuming that an accountable and responsible governance system existed 4,500 years ago in ancient China, it's better to see these tales as a mixture of Confucian ideals and folklore. After 2,000 years polishment when it's passed to Sima Qian, these stories often reflect the values and moral lessons crucial to Chinese culture and Confucian ideals. Sima Qian also used the field study, visiting local elderly when collecting them. A clear wish was emphasized in this folklore that leaders should be responsible and accountable, qualities that are still relevant today. Before we move on to Emperor Yao's story, if you find this video interesting, please give us a thumb up. You can also support us on patreon.com, the link is below in the description. Big thank you from your little cat Xiaomao for nurturing and energizing this young channel. Okay, let's get back to Emperor Yao's legend. If you find the succession topic we just described interesting, wait until you hear about Yao's succession. Yao is the son of Emperor Ku and the great-great-grandson of the Yellow Emperor. Sima Qian really pulled tons of positive description here. 其人如天，其之如神，就之如日，望之如云。富而不骄，贵而不疏，皇收纯一，铜车乘白马，能明训德，以清九族，九族祭牧，遍彰百姓，百姓昭明，和合万国。Emperor Yao was as benevolent as heaven, and as wise as a deity. Being near him felt like basking in the warmth of the sun, and looking up to him was like being covered by nurturing clouds. Despite his wealth, he remained humble. Despite his high status, he remained disciplined. He wore a yellow hat and a black robe, and rode in a familiar chariot drawn by white horses. Emperor Yao respected virtuous individuals and fostered love and harmony among his kin for 9 generations. Once he ensured familiar harmony, he turned his attention to examining his officials. His governance was so effective that all the vassal lords and state coexisted in peace. Well, that is a compliment. If you know Chinese culture, you know it is best known for being humble. And if you give people such a compliment, then this person must be one of the most esteemed figures in Chinese mythology and history, serving as an enduring symbol of moral integrity and compassionate leadership. Throughout Chinese history, subsequent emperors and rulers have looked to Yao as a model of wise and ethical governance. For example, if you were a governance official in ancient China and you want to give your boss, the emperor, a compliment, you could say, "Oh, sire, your reign is like Emperor Yao and Emperor Shun's, 堪比尧舜." Then your boss would be extremely happy and give you a lot of reward. Yao's reign is often highlighted as a golden age where ethical governance was the norm. He is credited with creating a system that values the welfare of the people and promoted officials based on their merit and virtue. Also worth mentioning, during his reign, China faced severe floods. Yao tasked Yu the Great with managing the flood control efforts, further exemplifying Yao's ability to recognize and empower capable leaders. We will make a video detailing his deeds and achievements in the future, but here I want to focus on his selection of a successor, since we already addressed this topic today, and we will cover it in our next episode. I promise it's a fascinating story involving family drama, fascinating anecdotes, and funny implications about Chinese culture. If you enjoyed today's video, Make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below with your thoughts and questions. I'd love to hear what you think about these legendary stories and any topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes. Thank you so much for joining us on Chinese History Written by Chinese, where we uncover the rich and intricate stories of Chinese legendary figures. Remember, history is not just a record of the past, it's a guide for the future. I'm Xiaomao, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.